All right, today we're installing and setting up UltraVNC on a Windows PC, and we're keeping this simple. It'll just be on the LAN. We're not going to open up any ports to the outside or forward any ports to this local machine. It'll just be controlling one of our computers from another one of our computers inside of our own house, just like a normal civilized nerd. But first, why would you even want to do this? Maybe you have a dedicated server that you don't want to move the mouse or keyboard over to. Maybe you have a server computer that you don't have a monitor on. You might not have a KVM switch, or maybe you just want to learn how it works, and that's good enough. Step one, download UltraVNC. You have to head over to their official site, and bear with me, I'm using a mouse that is wireless, and I'm looking at a monitor that has some delay. Okay, wrong mouse. And download. So while we wait, I accept. So I'll pick the latest, 1.6.4.0. And you'll see a few versions. I'm just going to pick the top version because it's, let's see, it says 64. So it's for a 64-bit operating system. The one below that says x86 is for a 32-bit. I'm going to go ahead and select the 64-bit and select download. So I was able to accept with my other mouse, and now we're going to save it in the downloads folder. Click, select open. Okay, so using the NDI, my screen went blank on this part, but I actually have a dialog box that wants me to select OK, so this is kind of why I want to set up UltraVNC to begin with, is so I don't have these sorts of issues. Let me get up. So what popped up was, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? And I selected yes. You couldn't see this on the screen. Okay, you have to accept. And next. Next. Okay. Here is where we want to make some decisions. When the installer launches, don't just click blindly. You'll see options like install UltraVNC server, install UltraVNC viewer. I believe there's the repeater, which I never pick. And that's more of an advanced option. For most home setups, install the server, register it as a system service. Why? Because that means UltraVNC will start with Windows. You don't have to launch it. It just is always on. And then if you want to connect to that PC, you don't have to run down to that PC and then select to open a program. It's just running in the background. That's the difference between this works sometimes and this works like infrastructure, right? So for instance, on my main gaming computer, I'm never going to remote into it, but I might remote out of it. So I only installed the viewer. However, on this one, maybe I'll be sitting at it and want to view something else. Mostly I intend to use it as a server. So I'm going to install the server and the viewer. And I'm going to select next as soon as I can move my little mouse there. Here, I'm going to select register UltraVNC server as a system service so that it is always running. Apologize for my mouse movement. I'm going to associate UltraVNC server with the .vnc file extension. I'm going to create a desktop icon, although I don't really need to. Actually, maybe I won't. I have so many icons. And what's this other thing? Add the virtual monitor for Windows 10. Okay, let's try it. It literally is a Windows 10 machine. No TPM 2.0, apparently. Next. Yes, let's restart the computer now. After we've installed it, we need to do an initial configuration. The most important thing here is setting up a VNC password. Now you'll set up one password for remote control and one password just for viewing. So let me open up the server. Click. Oh, shoot. I forgot. Oh, I set it up as a service. So it is already running. I have to find it in my system tray. Oh, my camera's blocking it. Let me do this. Let me move me. There we go. Is right here. A little eyeball. Let's see. Oh, okay. Learn as I go. Let me just look around my mic. I think I want to hit settings. Yes, I do. Okay. There we go. Move this off to the side again. I think that's where I want to be. I don't know where I want to be. That's where I'm going to put me. You can set this to use your Windows login as well. And actually, that's how I use it on a few servers at work. But from here, I'm not interested in doing that. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't need to change ports. I don't need to do any of that. Input. Don't need to do any of this. Miscellaneous. Don't need to change anything here. Notifications. Don't need to do anything here. In fact, we're going to head all the way over to administration, but I'll go through the screens. Reverse. Don't need to do anything here. Rules. This thing does a lot when you add it as a service. There's not as many controls in here when you just open it as an executable. This is the only machine I'm going to run it as a service. I always want it on. I do install a server on other machines, but I open it when I need it on those because I will rarely remote into those. And my machines are all within, well, these ones at least are within 10 feet of me. All right. Capture, log, etc. So here we go, administration. So we're going to set the admin password. And I'm going to set a new password since I've never put one in here before. Oh. Hang on. I forgot. I'm on the wrong keyboard because I haven't set up remote control yet. I need to move back onto the other computer. And I'm just simply going to type a password in both of these boxes. And then I'll come back here and select save. Hang out for me. Okay, I've retyped the password over there. Gonna select save. Let's see if I typed it right. I don't have to get up again. Ooh, I did it. If the other computers you want to remote control are right near you, there's no need to set it up as a service, really. And if you don't, you'll have a few different things to set up. And one of them will be a view only. And that is, one will allow you to remote and one will allow you to view. I had a situation where we wanted to monitor a computer and I set up one password for if I was going to monitor it on the screen, would people would have access to it. And that was just a 3-letter password. I didn't even make it secure. And then I set a different password for actually being able to remote into it, take control of the mouse, etc. That one still wasn't like hugely secure, but it was like 8 characters, something like that. You use the same user, you just connect. It's differentiation in passwords that gives you your permission level once you're connected. But I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Wrong mouse. Holy cow. Click. All right. Now, I don't know if this is going to get just so confusing or not, but I think what I'm going to have to do is pause this because my source is coming through the Ethernet cable because I'm using what we call NDI in order to get this picture over here. I'm going to switch it over to me remoting into the computer, and so I'll have to do a separate video and then put these back together. I think. Or maybe I'll just let it record. No, I'm going to have to stop it because I'm going to have to stop the NDI as being the source. So hold on, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the UltraVNC viewer on my current laptop. You can see my view is a little bit different. So I'm going to open up the viewer. This is my other computer that's in the memory. It's the only one I've connected to. So what I'm going to do is just highlight the last two. And the new computer I just set up is 10. We connect. Oh, this doesn't look good. I think I have a firewall issue. So now to connect, I have to go to my IP, but then I also have to go to what port was selected. So that'll be port, not that, 7950. I'll select connect. Now I'll get the password challenge. A semi-secure password, and I'm in. Okay. So let me do this, and this will be green unless someone's connected to it, and you can see it's a different color. That's just showing that there's a connection. Now click on there, select settings, connection. So right here, you can change this to anything you like within reason. And whatever this is what you have to put in the connection. So this says 7950. So when you go to connect, you need to make sure in the connection for this computer, I needed to make sure that it was 192.168.1.10. And then you use the colon, and then we have to put in the 7950. We would select OK, and we would connect. Now, in order to find out what the IP address is of the computer that you want to connect to, I probably should mention that. You will want to press the Windows key and then type CMD. That will open your command prompt. Hit enter. You'll get a black terminal window usually, unless you have set something else to come up or you've set some sort of custom colors. PowerShell is different color if you've set that to come up instead. And you can use PowerShell for this. But at this point, when you have PowerShell or the command prompt open, you'll want to type in the word ipconfig, press enter, and then once you press enter, you'll get a few, I want to say like maybe 6 lines, 7 lines, I'm not sure, depending on your computer. But what you're looking for is the IPv4 address. And you're looking for your LAN address, not any other IP. So it will almost always start with 192. And in some cases, if you've set up a custom internal network, you might have it starting at 10 dot something. And then you just basically take what it says here, and then in my case, it said 192.168.1.10, and I have to add the port, which is right here. I did that. I'm going to select OK on that, and then hit enter, and then easy peasy, I'm into this computer. Now, whoops. For LAN usage, the default settings are fine, basically fine. If you set it up as a service, you'll want to make note of the port. I think if you set it up if you set it up not as a service, but as an executable where you just have to go to if you just set it up where you launch it when you find the shortcut for it, then I think the port is automatically set at 5900. I think you can change that as well. But I think if it's at the default port, you don't need to indicate the port. Could be wrong. I didn't indicate it on the other one. So once you're connected, it's nothing fancy. You just simply have remote control over another computer. This isn't about enterprise infrastructure. This is about just connecting to another computer in your house. It's about learning how things work one piece at a time and building complexity and interoperability one step at a time. If you're new here, Lost in Progress is about building things and testing ideas. It's about figuring things out in real time. I'm not pretending to be the ultimate expert. I'm documenting the process as I learn and improve. Sometimes things work exactly as planned, and sometimes they break in ways I didn't expect. Either way, we learn and we take things one step at a time, and we just move forward. If that sounds like your kind of journey, subscribe, follow along. There's more coming, like games, servers, tech projects, experiments, and whatever else grabs my attention, to be honest. Thanks for being here. Okay, now, get lost.